Trident Wargaming. Build it, paint it, play it. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Trident Wargaming here. Andy with some more Bolt action for you. Again, I have Jason and Chris with me today. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Hello.
I don't know what that was about.
I got my two troublemakers here today. I got them riled up before the episode, so I'm sure there'll be some kind of dumpster fire happening, but that's for another story. So again, kind of a continuation of our last episode with wanting to see, if there's any changes in Bolt action you'd like to see. So we have a little bit of that to go through, just a few more points, so it might be a shorter episode, but we also have some stuff to go through for kind of what Warlord Games has been releasing, or what's upcoming or coming out, or what you can pre-order. Talk a little bit about that kind of stuff. Some hobby time, and then we'll probably talk a little about the event coming in October for Trident Wargaming. So yeah, that's kind of the game plan for this episode. And of course, we'll probably throw in some shenanigans in there somewhere, but I'll let Jason do the shenanigan stuff. So, but first, just to touch base here, we'd like to do a shout out to our sponsors at battlebling.com. They have been sending us some product for, a lot of it's for Heresy and Titanicus, so you'll be seeing some of those bits kind of coming here and there, building some stuff, just some cool 3D prints for upgrading your miniatures for those systems. Also, shout out to our patrons, Frederick and Dustin. Again, thank you very much. Buys Bill a beer when he's having a hard day, and just buys me a bubbly, some water. So it's always nice to have a cold one as we're working on stuff and whatnot. So thank you very much. Don't forget to check out our Instagram, Facebook, also our feed and whatnot, wherever you're watching our podcasts or listening to our podcast, that is. And check out our website at tridentwargaming.com. We have some articles on there and whatnot that we're working on, plus a whole bunch of other systems for our 40K points. We have kind of like a season going on and whatnot, and you can get points, the TWC points that you can get, and you'll be able to get some fancy prizes and stuff through that. So check that out if you're playing 40K. But back to Bolt action. So, like always, we'll talk a little bit about our hobby progress and whatnot at the hobby front. Myself, well, British are kind of waiting. I've had a whole bunch of other projects kind of pop up, trying to finish painting some stuff, some white scars for another system, and then planning out some more terrain for the upcoming event. So, hobby table is kind of full. Everything's everywhere, like most hobbyists, I would say. So, that's kind of where I'm at. How about you guys?
Well, I got Victory at Sea. I've been working on Battle of the River Plate. So the Ajax, Achilles, and Exeter for the British and New Zealand, and the Admiral Graf Spee for the Germans.
Nice.
Yeah, getting her all done so I can do up scenario 1 in the Victory at Sea rulebook, all nice and proper like. And I tried that scenario twice over this week, just against myself to see how it plays out. And torpedoes are very mean. Just so you know. There you go. That is all.
Nice.
And myself, I still plugging away at the Team Yankee stuff. Still got Soviets on the table, working on the Hind helicopters,
Ooh.
and then kind of pre-planning and putzing with list and building ideas for the NATO army I'm going to do, which is going to be Americans.
Sweet.
You should do a what is that? Oh, geez, Louise, the Bill Murray movie. I'm trying to think of. You remember? He's in the army in Germany. Oh my gosh.
This might be before my time.
Oh yeah, we're old man. Andy, you're an old man like me.
Is that
What
the one with
heck
John
is that?
Candy in it as well?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, I don't even know the name of that movie.
Yeah.
I know which movie you're talking about, but I don't remember the name of that.
Gosh, I wish I could remember stuff. Anyway,
I'm sure somebody will let us know.
Let us know, us older gentlemen know in the comments what the heck that movie is called.
Yeah, that was kind of a comedy, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
but no, that's pretty cool. A bit of different things on the go for everybody and different systems, and it's always good to see that. Speaking of which, I had scheduled a demo.
Stripes.
For
It's called Stripes. Sorry, I'm
There you
busting
go.
in. The movie is called Stripes.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, anyway. You get to go now. It's Stripe. Base your army off of Stripes. Also,
Well, I'm going to have to Google this now.
Yeah, I was saying. Now I forget what I was actually saying.
I just derailed you.
Yeah, I think the whole episode just got derailed.
Yeah, my train of thought jumped the tracks onto your train.
I had scheduled with Brandon locally here a demo for Flames War. I believe it was this Friday, so see how that goes. I'll see how different it is to Bolt Action and whatnot. Still doing World War II, right? So should be interesting. Might have to do a podcast on that. But yeah, as we kind of go and do our hobby and work on stuff, don't forget to come out if you're interested. You can join us on the Sunday night Trident Wargaming Discord for our hobby nights. We tend to get like a bunch of people online and just painting and streaming and chit-chatting about the games and whatnot. So a lot of fun. Spend an hour on there doing it, get a lot done. So by all means, check it out.
I feel, by the way, that painting, streaming, and chit-chatting is a shirt waiting to be made.
Maybe I'll get a dice tray printed out like that.
There you go.
So Jason just has all these good ideas.
I'm an ideas man.
You're hired.
Yeah, or I have ADHD. I don't know.
It's working, Jason. Just go with it. So before we actually do jump into some of the smaller topics that we were discussing before, I kind of want to go through some releases and whatnot that Warlord Games has been doing actually recently. And of course, the recent one that everybody's probably excited for is the Tough Gut Italian campaign book. So that's finally coming out after seeing it on Amazon months ago. So that's
even if I wasn't interested in the book, I do want the bear. I'm a sucker for random miniatures that I will probably never need but really want. And actually, I do have quite a large Polish army.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that book's coming out. It should be interesting. It should be a lot of new things in that book. It's been a little bit since we've had one. So
yeah, it's been.
What was the last one? D-Day book?
I think it was the last Italy book, wasn't
The last Italy book.
Oh, yeah. No, that's right.
Yeah, and that had to have been about this time last year, I think. Maybe a little later. Maybe it was in like early fall last year.
So that's coming out. I'm sure there'll be a few people excited about that in the community for sure. Of course, we'll just add it to our piles like we usually do.
Yeah, I have to get it.
Yep.
I don't know what you're talking about.
One of us. So it's coming out. You'll probably see a lot of new units, a lot of obviously the campaign, whole bunch of missions, and then theater selectors and whatnot too. So should be fun to try out, play.
I'm anticipating a lot of kind of the push onto Rome, Monte Cassino, Anzio, Ortona, those kind of battlefields, as opposed to the the southern part of Italy, the Sicily campaign, and a little bit of Italy is really what they could have named the last one. Sicily and a little bit of Italy. But
and then they're coming out with some plastic kits as well. The Alpini Mountain Troops.
If you need yourself some Robin Hood hat, these are your bros, bro.
Funny. Are either of you guys going to get the troops and like get an army going?
I have Basiglieri because I love silly looking uniforms. And a humongous ostrich feather in the helmet is hilarious to me, and I love it. And these guys have little kind of Robin Hood hats. And some of the Alpini units are, as much as everybody gives Italy grief about their troops being terrible, their troops really weren't that terrible for the most part. Some were, really poorly motivated, but the Alpini troops, a lot of them were really elite. So it's I kind of like the idea of, bringing out a force that, Italy schmiddly people might think, but these Alpini troops, despite their silly Robin Hood hats, are some bad mamma jammas.
So funny you mentioned that about the army and whatnot. People might think they're a little lackluster or whatever, but just giving a hint that I'll probably touch base on that kind of idea as we go through some of the changes we might want to see, right? But plastic kits, pretty neat. More options. Speaking of other new kits, I know Chris was pretty excited about this one too, the 88s that they're doing. So
I'm always a sucker for an artillery piece that I'll never use.
Yes.
So they're making a Waffen SS and like a Winter Here 88 kit. So I'm understanding is that the 88 is the plastic kit that you get, just like the Africa Corps one that I have for my army, and then the crew is all pewter. So,
pewter, yeah, which is a smart way to do it, because it's just, money wise, it costs a lot of money to
make plastic kits, right?
To make a plastic kit, to make the mold.
Yep.
And it's significantly cheaper. And apparently there's only 2 places in the UK that can make up these molds. So there's like a backlog, apparently.
Okay.
Before you can even if you commit the money, you're like on a waiting list for 2 years before you get to be able to move forward with the project. So to do it with the kit you already have, which is fine. It's a good kit, actually. I have one and I like it. And then you throw in whatever uniform you want just by adding a couple pewter guys, which you can spin up.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me. So
Yeah,
now
I
you
like
don't.
that kit.
It's a good kit. Yeah,
Which one are you going to
Yeah.
get, Chris?
all of them.
Well, of course, like everybody, I have a Winter German army bought and stashed away, but I have done nothing with. So, naturally, I want to add one. But I don't know. I already have one built and painted, the all pewter version, I'll have you know, for the early war Germans. And let me tell you, that thing would be deadly. Do not ever drop that. Yeah, I have one of them, and then I already have the plastic here kit for my late war grenadiers. So I don't know. I don't want to say never, but I think I might pass on this one. I have two, and I've never ever taken them or used them.
Yeah, I've used them.
They are decent.
As long as you get your angle and your shot. Otherwise, a lot of times you're playing with them and it's just like, well, they're not doing anything this game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Artillery is hard to use, I think. It takes a lot of trial and error before you figure out how to get it right.
Yeah, there's that, and then there's also, like, depending on the table that you're playing, right? So, you know, if you're making a themed table, you know, for a drop in night, a lot of guys can go heavy on the terrain, and you know, it's just now a matter of positioning. But
and I think too, it's part of it is being able to accept that sometimes this unit's value is in area denial too. Even if you don't like, that didn't kill anything, Jiminy Crickets. Well, maybe it also made the enemy tanks not rip down the road at full bore to get into an objective, or, you know.
Well, you can.
I don't know.
It's kind of the scare tactic too, right? Like,
yeah, everybody's terrified of them.
Yeah. So
but anyway, they're fun. They look nice. But do they have Robin Hood hats? No.
No. Cool kits. I don't know if I'll get any of those at this time, but
I'll get the winter one.
I mean, the winter one would fit in with my army too, but I still got other stuff to fill in those slots. So we'll see about that. Next up, we have the Wing Commander compendium that's coming out for Blood Red Skies.
I'm so stoked. It has a campaign system in it. Mm-hmm. I know I talked about it to death on this podcast, but I love it. I love the campaign system that they released for free that I think you can still download. And this one apparently worked on by some of the guys from the Lead Pursuit podcast.
Okay.
And when they were describing it, it sounded really cool. Like, just a lot of depth. So you have your squadron, you have your pilots. They can get injured, they can get killed, they can get captured, they can get shot down and survive, but then it takes a certain amount of game turns to get back.
Nice.
So, you know, they might be out of the action for a couple games, but then they can show up again. There's a progressive plane availability. So if you're starting a campaign, for the one that they have available that I can speak to at least, it's Battle of Britain campaign. So at the very beginning of the battle, you have certain planes that are available and some aren't. And then as the campaign progresses, more of the planes become available.
Nice.
So you're able to use points to purchase for your squadron upgraded planes as it goes on, which is kind of neat. And of course, getting the kills recorded for your guys and getting ace, status, because your experience level it isn't randomized or anything. It starts out and they progress throughout the campaign, so they get better too until they die, and then you get a bunch of rookies. Really fun. Anyway, I'm looking forward to this coming out.
Very nice. Yeah.
And I don't know why Chris doesn't also play Blood Red Skies yet. So
I don't know either, but I tend to dibble dabble in a lot of things.
you should, buddy. Just get a squadron. You don't need a lot.
We probably need one of those weekend days again where we just all hang out and game out.
Yeah,
for sure.
You two are a bad influence.
No.
Buy them all.
So, yeah, probably be picking that up too. Got a lot of stuff for that game as well to even try to put together, which is nice because there's not much to put together. So, just need to paint stuff. Also, they got a whole bunch of ships for Victory at Sea.
Yeah,
and
the
I think
Ajax, which I mentioned.
Some of them I think are released already, I believe, or pre-order. Ajax, Soryu, Agano, I think it is. What is it? Karlsruhe?
I don't know.
I think it's a German one. But they got troop ships and like liners as well.
They look super cool.
So, a whole bunch of more ships, which is nice to see that they're putting more stuff into Victory at Sea for that as well. So pretty cool.
It's good to see those troop ships and like liners, all the peripheral models. Because when I first got into Victory at Sea, I was gung ho, got in, and keep in mind I've grown up on the prairie, so I know nothing about nautical this or that. Like I know nothing. So I played a couple games and I figured, oh, just go into it, do my typical stuff, and got annihilated. And I still don't understand the tactics of naval warfare, but I feel like if you took something like a convoy of troop ships, and I think they have the Liberty ship out too now.
Yeah, they actually have a box. I think you get 6 or 8 different ships, all merchant convoy.
Exactly.
Like, a mix,
like if you could do some sort of scenario where like you need to defend the convoy and you got to escort it off the table. Like I'm sure there's set up scenarios, but if you could just do something generic where you could do that on a pickup game on like a Wednesday night, that's awesome. Where just two fleets sailing at each other, doing the old circle around the middle and the yin yang and just shooting at each other till someone gives up. I don't know, is that realistic?
Yeah. No, not really. Not. Well, maybe. Depends on the battle. But people should look up the Japanese-Russian War in 1905. I forget the name of the battle. Jeez Louise. Anyway, there's a battle. The Russian fleet got murdered. Just that's pretty much what happens. They just zip around these Russian guys and murdered them. Anyway,
it's a great game. Victory at Sea is a great game. And I definitely need to play a bit more of it to get the grasp of the game itself as well. Because we tend to play it for a little bit and then it drops off and then it comes back. You know what I mean? Like, so by the time we actually start grasping more of the rules and scenarios, it's kind of forgotten, right? So
that's one game that could really benefit, in my opinion, from a second edition or at least a version 1.2 where cleanup of the rules. I find them very convoluted, and you're looking to deal with torpedoes, yet the devastating special rule and a couple other things. And I think maybe the organization of that book could be streamlined quite a bit.
Could be cleaned up. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The organization is out to lunch. I'm not entirely sure why they organized it the way they did. And the rules for sure are they take multiple readings to get what they're trying to say. I think they could just clean up the language a little.
Yeah.
But scenarios so far, just looking through them and starting with the first one there, really fun. They are off. They are not even though, which I love. I love when they make a scenario that's uneven. Screw it. try to do it the way it was and see if you can do better than the Admiral in that position.
I think with that, with not just that game, but as we've seen it in the campaign books and campaign missions as well, is their scenarios. They've designed these scenarios to, have a superior force attacking another force that's essentially dug in, right? And they've been, put these rules in. And actually, we've played a few of them, and they're actually really good battles, right? But then, you take some of the stuff into like just a pickup game, and it kind of gets skewed a bit, where, okay, this guy has a real big advantage, right? So,
Yeah.
So I think they did pretty decent for like scenarios and stuff. And it's just fun to play them, like just hammer them out and see how it works, and fight the good fight kind of thing in the battles. So pickup games usually, you're doing the normal balanced amount of points and just go at her, right? So, but even the bolt action missions, and that's something I'd like to touch on as well. They're pretty decent for most part. I don't find any like big, huge issues with them. Scoring's pretty simple, all that, but it's just playing the game, tactics, and all that stuff. So, but yeah, continuing forward, they also came out with the Easy 8, the Humber armored car, and then 2 German. I think one of them's an armored car, the other one's a half track. The SDK F250 and the 222 and the 223. So those have been out. Nice little plastic kits that they've been coming out with. So, funny thing with the Easy 8 is the day before they dropped the announcement of it, I had gotten one of their old resin kits. So,
Oh no!
Yeah, which was funny. So,
they look great. I like their plastic kits.
Yeah.
So I haven't built any of these particular ones yet, but I'm sure they're gonna go.
Just for sure. It's it'll be good. The little kits, they're trying to fill up some of the slots and maybe some of the missing vehicles and whatnot that they that they have in the rule books and whatnot. So as long as they continue and make these kits, then guys don't really have to go searching other places to get stuff. Usually, but there's always options. So
cool.
But yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Were you talking like Rubicon options? Because that is one reason why I probably won't buy the M4A3, the Easy 8.
Oh yeah,
because I already have like 9 Rubicon Shermans, more than you'd ever need. But I don't know. I find sometimes Warlord is a little late to the party.
Yeah,
and I don't want to crap on them too hard here by any means.
Oh no,
but their SDK, I've said the 222. I already have a Rubicon kit. I think I have 3 of them built in the different versions, and those are top-notch, excellent kits. And then same with their Sherman kits. I don't know how many versions of that they have. And super specific too. Like if you're trying to go for, I think it was the M4A2, where it had the diesel motors, and it was only used for the Lend-Lease to the Soviets and the Marine divisions. Like very, very specific details on those. And all plastic, of course. So,
well, that's pretty cool.
As much as I'd love to pick up some of these new kits and, try them out and see how they are, what am I going to do with a 12th Sherman?
I don't know. You could always have more Shermans.
I have yet to build a Sherman.
What?
And I have a few of them. So
I'm so close to that company of Shermans.
That's crazy.
I'm gonna have to do a regiment. That's what I need.
I think I've built more German tanks than I have anything else. German, Soviets, and then I think I have a couple of British tanks that I had acquired from a player a while ago, and yeah, I haven't gotten around to working on any Brits or Americans at all. So
well, you're out of the club, so that's okay.
I'm out of the club. So, but they're coming. There should be some fun kits to build. So
I think we all saw it coming. Oh, sorry to cut you off there, Andy.
no, it's all good.
We all saw it coming with the Gentleman's War release, where they had the plastic 222 and the plastic Humber Mark II and 4.
Yeah.
We all saw that coming.
Yeah.
But what has it been? Like a year later, we're getting the individual kit released?
Yeah.
It is a bit slow on this one. I kind of thought, they're going to release it in the Gentleman's War, and then 2 months later they'll release it separate. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a story there, but
yeah, no, for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if soon enough there'll be another starter kit coming out as well at some point. But that's a whole other story, really. You never know. Maybe with all that talk that we hear about K-47, I'm going to guess that maybe they'll make a new starter set for that when they decide to revamp that game too, right? So, but yeah, going on to the main course, some of the changes that we would like to see in the world of Bolt Action. I know we've hammered this one out probably a gazillion times, but all three of us have this, and it's the MMGs.
Mamaga.
Yeah. So, and I think everybody mentions it, and everybody would love to see a change, and which doesn't mean that you can't house rule something, right, and try it out. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on something you would like to see happen with MMGs?
Well, here's one thought. They priced MMGs significantly cheaper on vehicles where they're better than they did for the infantry team.
Mm-hmm.
So you either keep them the same but make them cheaper, or you make them better. It really is in the game. It's the most overpriced piece of kit. It's not even close.
I say they got to change it within the framework they have. Personally, I would keep the points the same, but use the suppression system they have, the pins. And whether it be an LMG or an MMG, my idea would be if you target a unit, you automatically put a pin on, regardless of hitting, and then then carry it on from there and roll your dice. And if you get any hits, you put an additional pin.
Well, here's what I was thinking, and I was thinking kind of along those lines. Is you pick a unit and it automatically gets a pin, and then you can roll to see if a unit within, maybe 3 inches of that center unit will also get a pin to make it like a real area suppression.
Ooh, I like
kind
that.
of like the multi launchers in a sense, because that's what they are really. They're not. I mean, obviously they're designed to kill people. Like, that's what you want, but I mean, really, you're not. It's not a sniper rifle. You're just spraying and praying. I mean, especially with like the MG42, you're just spraying a whole shitload of shrapnel down the. Well, not shrapnel, but lead down the in an area, and making people keep their heads down.
Yeah, that's very similar to, I believe it's Juggernaut podcast. They had put out a little package, like their event package, and they've changed some rules in there, and the machine guns and HMGs were one of them. And just kind of like how Chris had mentioned, they initially put a pin on automatically on somebody, but from what I think I remember reading, it was they could only do it once, or only one unit could do that instead of like everybody. So
To be fair, I do listen to that Juggernaut podcast, so credit where it's due. It probably came from those guys.
yeah. So, but I think everybody's on the same page, right? If they want to see something like that, which makes sense for that weapon, for that team, is that like Jason said, that was their whole goal, right? That was their whole thing. There's a reason why they set up machine gun pits and whatnot, right? Is to keep infantry from coming and keeping them pinned down or whatever, right? So
Yeah, and really the reality is that a small squad with rifles is more effective than a machine gun, which seems silly to me.
yeah, true. Could be something of where, you know, it gives you the pin, right? Like normal, like you get the pin, or you get an additional pin. But if you were to cause an actual casualty on the unit, that unit would be forced to make a order check, right? So they make an order check, and if they fail, they'll actually have to fall back.
Yeah.
Right.
Or go down.
So little mechanics like that, just stuff like that. Like the thing with going down is, I guess, yeah, they can be forced to go down, but
because you do it after they're hit.
Yeah,
after the shooting, so it won't affect the shooting. But
no, but if they're already down, then, or that could be another thing too. You know, if a unit is already down and you're shooting at them, you cause an additional pin.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like there's a lot of different little ideas that can happen. But I do like the extra pin mechanic, right? It just, are they now worthwhile? You know, point cost. Maybe they should be reduced or re-looked at, kind of thing. I mean, I still take them, but why take one when you can take it on a vehicle and it's much better? Or you can take that armored car bike with sidecar, you know what I mean? Like that slot, and have that mobile machine gun with recce.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Or like even just looking at the points, it's just out to lunch. A machine gun is 50 points. MMG.
Yeah.
A light machine gun as an upgrade to a squad almost universally is 20 points.
Yeah.
And so they're telling me that it's 30 points for one extra shot?
Yeah.
It seems a little crazy. It seems like I don't get it. Like the upgrade in a squad is roughly equal to what they charge for vehicles. That seems fine, but then they have because they have 3 men and it's a team and fixed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 2 rules, by the way, that are more hindrances than bonuses. So they're actually less effective in those senses. And they have a fixed arc.
Right.
So there's 3 things that make them less effective than a standard upgrade to a squad. Besides, generally, we're talking an MMG versus an LMG. But if you take away that one shooting difference, the MMG team is significantly worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
In your points comparison, though,
more.
Don't forget an LMG on a regular squad is actually 40 points because you got to pay for the loader and the dude carrying it.
Oh, that's true too.
So the breakdown would mean you would be paying 10 points per shot die you're rolling, which would be put it more in line.
Well, that seems fair. But then you're still getting stuck with the fixed and team, which makes them more vulnerable.
That's why you just be cheesy like me, go in the Battle of France book, and for 35 points to a generic reinforced platoon, get a German LMG team. And it's a non-fixed 5 dice MMG team with 3 dudes that can move and shoot.
Sold. But they should be better.
Yeah. And
I'm ending my rant on it should be better.
Yeah, and I'm sure everybody's talked about it too, so don't have to go too much on that anymore. But yeah, be nice to see something.
Let's kick this dead horse a couple more times.
We will.
What about HMGs?
What? what?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The 2 nations that have HMGs.
You don't see them.
Well, not for 70 points, you won't.
No. So.
Would you take them, though, if you, say, had 4 dice for 70 points, and you had an upgraded suppression or pin?
For 70 points, I probably wouldn't take MMGs if that was the case.
Yeah, I would just take the HMGs.
So.
Yeah,
that's when you start. You're starting to now look at it game wise instead of historically or whatever, right, kind of thing. But that's the gamer in us as well. It happens. That's the way the players do it. But yeah, I would take it.
Yeah. HMGs in this game are for their cost. Actually, for their effectiveness, if they were cheaper, they're not that bad. The extra or the reduced shooting dice, but the
pen.
Jeez, yeah, me good first talkie.
Jesus.
Yeah, there we go. I just broke. My brain broke. Yeah, the additional pin can be handy pen can be handy for dealing with those, lighter vehicles ripping around and even just veteran armies.
Oh, for sure.
But they're way uppity on the price points. That's my new. I'm just talking a new language now. They're way uppity on the price points. I don't know. I don't know what you gents think, but.
No, it would change. It would change the way players probably would make their armies to utilize them. So, yeah. Next up, missions. Is there any missions that you would like to see a change to, or maybe bring something else in?
Top secret. Get rid of it.
That's the football one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I never remember because I just used derogatory football term because it's silly.
So I agree. I agree with that. I don't care for it either.
You can tell it's a dud scenario because anytime it's rolled at the store, 9 times out of 10, people re-roll.
Yeah.
So that just tells nobody wants to play it.
No, that's very true.
I don't think it adds anything. You can't even take anything out of that scenario and apply it slightly differently. If I was to design a new scenario to reflect some kind of battle or something, there's nothing out of that scenario I would use for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's silly. And it's the easiest one to exploit, too.
Oh,
trust me.
100%.
The Polish with a 19-man infantry unit can really conga line the shit out of that thing.
Well, yeah. And honestly, with how far an infantry unit can actually move, and not only being in a big squad that can take hits or whatever, you can build that scenario where, yeah, you do start passing it off to the next unit, and then that unit moves, and then just domino effect, and then it's turn 3, game over, Oh man, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't care for that mission. The other ones seem pretty decent. I would like I like how they do have attacker defender scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
And I also do like how they have battle scenarios, right? There's a third option I would love to see, and it'd probably take a little bit more time to do for creating these scenarios. And you guys, I don't know, you guys may or may not like it. It's kind of a book out of some of the other games, because even though Bolt Action is still, it's a game, and there's the historical aspect of it, and it's more lighthearted than most other games. I would like to see kind of a matched play section where the games are more geared towards maybe a little bit more competitive, right? Like for players who want to do that, or for even tournament organizers, actually have a section for that. So it'd be just a little change like that, just a little something extra, or a random, like a totally random mission chart. You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny. We were talking about Victory at Seas earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They have something like that where your mission objectives are randomly. You don't have to, but you can randomly generate mission objectives.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So
so you're talking about like a couple of different deployment setups, roll for it. You have 6 setups, and then you have a couple of different mission objectives. Yeah. Roll to see what your objective is. You can even have secondary objectives, like making sure, like to kill the enemy HQ is a secondary objective, or something like that.
Yeah. So that's in a lot of other games too, and I actually do like that. And you know what? Maybe they're not secondary objectives, but maybe they're like secret missions, right? So you would roll on a random chart, and this would be you have to accomplish this objective, like a secondary secret mission kind of thing, and you would score a couple other points for that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So just a little bit more spice to it, I guess. I kind of like that.
I like your idea of the secondary objectives, but having come from 40K, I remember a time when they had those objective cards that you could buy for your army, and you know how many times I would roll up to a game with my Grey Knights or something, and it would be, score so many victory points if you destroy so many enemy vehicles, and I'm playing like Tyranids. You're like, oh, well, that was cool. Yeah, so, I mean, as long as you could get it specific to it.
The nice and the nice thing for that, because the armies are the armies that they are, right? There's tanks, there's infantry, mainly infantry, there's artillery, right? So there's only so many different types of units in the game. So I mean, if it was like target the opponent's HQ, right? Take out their command, stuff like that. Well, maybe now your sniper that's their target, right? Like take out 3 NCOs.
Yeah. Or have the option, if the enemy doesn't have this, re-roll or something.
Yeah, and there's a lot of games that do that. I do remember 40K did that. But you can also throw that in there if you wanted to. So, and just a heads up, there might be something like that coming up for the event in October. Little extra stuff like that, right? So,
how scandalous!
But Just saying. Just saying.
Also, just to touch on your comment there regarding maybe matched play.
Yeah.
Like third party would be the Bolt Action Alliance with Brad from the Cast Dice podcast. I think he has 8 scenarios now, and I've printed them off and put just laminated all the sheets, and then we just randomly grab one on a pickup night. Those are extremely orientated towards no prep bombardment. They're extremely square and fair to either side. And if you lose in that scenario, you 100% know you did not lose because of an unfortunate rolling of a scenario. You just got outplayed.
Oh, that's good.
And I can appreciate that too. So there's kind of options right now if somebody is so inclined to have those types of games.
Oh, for sure. For
Nice.
sure. We'll have to check those out. Definitely. You guys have anything else for changes you might want to take a look at? I know
Vehicle MMGs.
Do we talk about those MMGs yet?
Yeah. MMGs. Let's just leave it at that. We do have, or I do have one other thing, and it's not so much a change, it's more of a addition. The Bolt Action...
Magic. You're going to add you want magic.
Magic missile. No magic. What I was going to say is I would like them to maybe refine or add a little bit more to the Tank War supplement. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like put a little bit more depth into it, make it a whole other thing. Like I know right now you have your tank platoons and you can get experience for your crews and all this, and they go up and there's other missions, but I would like to see something else with it, a little bit more depth. Maybe they actually do have a little bit of a campaign for it set up, and then just kind of maybe introduce some other things to it, right? Because like everybody loves to play some Tank Wars,
Mm-hmm.
but they tend to be one-off games that I've seen, and nobody's actually like doing kind of like a little league or whatever where you're keeping track of your experience, right? So, and that's like with events that I've done. That's why every time I do an event, I always say, okay, guys, you have so many points that you can dish out to your crews so that you actually can play with those experience rules and actually roll for the skills, right? So, yeah, that's just one little tidbit that I would love to see. So,
Okay.
I don't know about you guys.
I feel like Tank Wars, their exact setup, exact scaling, exact measurements, everything. But if you played it with 15 mil models, with like the Flames of War tanks, I've never done it personally, nor have I seen it done. I'm sure people have, but I feel like that would get you a better experience using the bolt action rules. Because then you can actually reach out and actually see and feel the difference between, like, how often when you're shooting a super heavy AT gun, how often do you ever remember to measure over half range? You know what I mean? There's a lot of rules because they're just confined within the 6x4. That some of the rules don't
apply.
Don't come up as often. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. I think Jordan and Alan did that actually one time. But yeah, that would be worth a shot trying out. And that's the beautiful thing is you can play the game at a different scale, right? So it all works out. Never know, might be some kind of like, epic Tank Wars or epic bolt action come out in the future. Never know. Jason would be hooked.
I probably would. I'm not gonna lie. I'm smart like that.
So yeah, those are just a little few extra.
Oh no! Oh, I got one.
Oh,
that's
okay.
a maybe. I got a maybe.
Okay.
I don't use foos.
That's right.
Aircraft foos enough. So Chris is probably the expert. Do we feel that it's too easy to deter the aircraft foos, or the aircraft from coming in with the machine guns? The flak get to shoot.
Flak and pintle mounted.
Yeah.
It depends.
I'd say no.
Yeah. Depends on how much you have in your actual army. Like I've actually had to shoot my own down because If
it flies, it dies. That was the American motto in Normandy.
But I also had the Flak 88.
Mm-hmm.
So, right, just takes it down real quick. But yeah, like you need what, 3 hits on it with 6s, I believe, and on top of that, as long as it's in the range and your line of sight.
Yeah, it has to be in range of the area that it's called in on, if I remember correctly.
So yeah, for me it all depends, but I mean, I've actually only seen one get shot down. So
yeah, it was brought up, and I was kind of quasi on board. Like, yeah, that is too easy to get the 3 hits.
Yeah,
but I think it's really situational. If you're playing an army that has a buttload of flak, then yeah, but then it makes sense. I don't
know. No, it's a good one to bring up. You never know. Might be some obscure rule out there that somebody came up with, and it's like, I really like that rule. I really like that, how it turns it around, right? So, I think we mentioned this in the last episode, but the actual strafing run is the part that I don't care for the way it's set up now. So, where you have to pick a point where you put your essentially model or token, and then the unit that you picked, and then you measure from those 2 sections instead of like a big corridor. So, but who knows? So, yeah, I think that's about it for the rest of our little changes that we would like to see, or ideas that we have for bolt action. I'm sure there's a whole bunch more out there that guys have come up with or even implemented in their games. We'd, of course, love to hear about them.
What grinds your gears?
Yeah. And there was a couple of comments that guys have had said on the comments of the last video, so which were pretty good. And just touch base a little bit, actually, for this October event that I've mentioned. Through us Trident Wargaming here locally. We're going to have a 10-man event. It's going to be a 1v1s, and it's going to be a D-Day themed tournament / event. So I will be getting some tables ready for that event. The plan of making 2 large thematic looking D-Day beach boards is in the no-go fly zone at the moment, so there's a lot of things behind it. The boys here, they know I kind of re-looked at things and made a decision to not continue with that, but instead make more playable, gameable tables with that same setting. which I've seen some pretty cool ideas online for, which still look great and still gives you that feel for those. So the plan is to have 2 tables, which are like the D-Day beach landings. And then 1 table will be kind of like the bocage, which I already have kind of made, as you guys know. But I am going to change it up just a little bit. And then there'll be like Normandy kind of, as you're going inwards, there'll be another town that you kind of go through. I'm looking at some files right now. And then 5th table, I was thinking about doing kind of a forested trench work with artillery pits, just to resemble some of the other battlefields and whatnot, and like missions for the invasion, essentially. So that's kind of the idea for tables. Hopefully everything will turn out with that. And then I'll probably end up making custom missions with some custom rules. And then we go from there. So should be fun. Again, like I said, I'll probably have secret missions for players per round. It'll be a 3-round event. Of course, Axis visit allies. So go from there. No restriction essentially on what army you can play. So, because this is going to be our kind of D-Day event, I don't really like to restrict people on playing. So even though a person may not have an army specific to that, theater, I still would like them to come out and play. So 1250, max 14 dice. But I'll probably be making it only 1 reinforced platoon, and go from there. So there will be a player's pack coming out shortly and whatnot, so guys can sign up and take advantage and get armies all done up and ready. This will be the first fully painted event that I'll be doing. And hopefully from here on in, it'll be fully painted events. I just think it's time. Games are always better painted, in my opinion. So I know Jason's loving it because he's now going to have a goal to get stuff painted.
Yeah.
A little bit of pressure.
Little pressure, yeah. A week before, I am going to be furiously painting.
No, for sure. So, but I'm gonna come up with some missions for these battles and whatnot, and I may get some guys to kind of test run them, just to knock out any of the kinks in the mission. Maybe something is kind of a little obscured, but there's lots of stuff out there that I can take from, so it'll be good. And there's been some good feedback with some of the previous events and tables that have been used, which will help with just making it a lot more funner for players, right? So yeah.
Sweet.
So that's kind of the idea. Definitely going to be going pretty hard on building the terrain for it here right away, actually this week. So kind of got everything planned, got my, chicken scratch drawings of how I want my tables to look and stuff, and got all the material. So, so that's kind of where I'm at. So hopefully everybody will be able to enjoy it. I know you guys will be there to give me a hand or just even come and play. So
I do have to ask though, Andy, one of your special or hidden objectives, is one of them going to be shoot down an aircraft?
Yes.
Well, it's got to be now.
Yeah. No. It'll be stuff that players can actually accomplish, right? So, but it'll be more of, targeted for those tables and whatnot too. So, it could be having so many units in a sector or something, or like, again, taking out certain units, stuff like that. So, essentially there'll be the victory points per game that you win, and then of course I'll have tallied up the actual victory points in game, and then there was the kill points. So you'll actually keep track of how many of the opponent's units that you actually killed, and that's essentially used for a tiebreaker. So I'll have little cards for that stuff, right? So guys can keep track, and then I'll keep track of it too.
Sweet.
Just stuff like that. So it'll be a laid back, fun event, right? With a little bit of more tactical stuff for scenarios. So, and then guys will be able to build armies and whatnot for the game, and still be able to play. And it's hard to restrict guys to certain theaters and whatnot because they may not have the miniatures for it. You know what I mean? So I'd rather guys just be able to build an army that they want to play. Obviously no specific theaters for selectors except for just the reinforced platoon, right? Very generic, but you can still build some pretty good armies out of it. We don't need any kind of artillery platoon showing up on the beach and laying waste to whoever's across the opponent's side of the board.
I think now I have to replan my army.
Of course. So, yeah, just it's kind of the way I see it. It's simpler for myself to actually to do and get to as a goal. Plus, it allows me to make 4 new tables as well. So yeah, that about wraps it up, I'd say.
Sweet.
Yeah. So again, thanks guys for jumping on and chit-chatting, having some fun.
No worries. I'm always here for some shenanigans.
Thanks for having us.
And again, thanks you guys for checking out the podcast and listening, shooting us comments and likes and all that stuff. Really appreciate it. We've been going 3 years now, I think. So just things get better and better. More people are checking stuff out, and it's always great to share experiences and check out your experiences as well. So yeah, keep on playing games, checking dice, and building, painting, playing, and good times. So hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Acha!